Buying versus leasing is a very tough topic to delve in any depth in 3 to 5 minutes without just making matters worse and confusing you. I'm just going to say a couple of things on this topic. For one thing, buyers and leasers always seem to be in opposite camps. And the truth is, one is not necessarily better than the other. What you need to figure out is which one is best for you in your situation. There are a couple factors that come into play. And what I'd rather do than explain the differences between the two is tell you that I can give you more in-depth understanding if we ever get together in person, or if you want to send me an email, I'll be happy to do that. Well, what's more important for you is to look at your budget and look at your situation and your lifestyle and pick the car that you love and go the route that makes the most sense, either buying or leasing. And don't fuss over the math, over every little penny, because whether you buy or whether you lease, I hate to break it to you, but technically you're going to lose money because a car is a depreciating asset. It's an expense. It costs money. Just like paying your electric bill costs money. It costs money to have the privilege of not having to take the bus to work every day. So either way, you're going to be spending money. So don't fuss over the individual math. Here are some general guidelines. First of all, I want to say it does take slightly better credit in order to qualify for leasing. So if your credit is hovering on the borderline, leasing might not actually be an option for you at this time. But here's a couple things that you can think about. One thing, if you're a person who owns your car for 3, 5, way more than 3 years, 5, 6, 8, 10 years, if you're a person who likes the freedom of driving a car for a few years before they get into another car payment, of course, you would be a candidate for financing. If you are a person who, for whatever reason, it's really important to you that you own the car when you're done. For example, let's say you plan to give it to your teenage daughter as a starter car. Then obviously you need to finance it. Okay. If you're a person who drives a real lot of miles, mileage comes into play with leasing, and they do have different tiers. So, you don't need to be too worried about that. But if you're a person that really racks up the miles, there's going to come a point where you may not think that it's worthwhile because it might become too expensive to lease. Okay, let's look at those. So those are some good hints whether you'd be probably better off financing your car. Now let's take a look at leasing. If you're a person whose lifestyle and personal taste is the kind of person that you like to have a new car, and after 3, 4 years, you're not going to want to drive that car anymore, you want to get a new one, you're definitely a good candidate for leasing. If you're a person who puts a lot of priority on peace of mind and security that you get from having a new car and for being under warranty, leasing is probably the best way for you too, because you will be in warranty during the extent of your lease. When your warranty runs up, pretty much your lease is going to run up too, and then you're going to be moving on to the next vehicle, and you're going to start all over again with new warranties. And the third thing is, if you're a person who really kind of likes nice cars, but you like cars that are a little tiny bit out of your budget, a lease has a lower payment. It gives you the opportunity to enjoy a more expensive car, one that might be a little bit too expensive for you to buy, but you get to enjoy it and drive it because it suits your lifestyle. So it gives you a lot of freedom that way in selecting your cars. You're not quite so limited. That's really all I'm going to say on buying versus leasing. They're both good. Just figure out which one is best for you. Pick a car you like and go with it. That's my advice.